God of War. Yes, before the most recent game of the adventures of Kratos and Boy, God of War was a hack and slash game with over-the-top violence where you play as the world's angriest Spartan ashtray, meet beings and creatures from Greek mythology and beat the crap out of each and every single one. Today, we're looking at a lesser mentioned installment in the series. Yes, even more less mentioned than the PSP games. This is God of War Ascension. The story starts before the events of God of War 1, where Kratos wakes up chained up in a prison made out of the corpse of a 100-handed giant by the Furies, lesser Greek gods that punish people for breaking their oaths and promises. In Kratos' case, he's here because he refuses to obey Ares' orders due to the whole fact of Ares tricking Kratos into killing his wife and child. After Kratos breaks free and kills one of the Furies, he has a flashback to earlier on where he's suffering from hallucinations that the Furies are causing him. But then the son of Ares and the Queen of the Furies appears to Kratos and tells him that he can basically get rid of his oath he made to Ares. Why is he telling Kratos this? Because the Queen of the Furies and Ares are planning to overthrow Mount Olympus, so he sends off Kratos to find the Oracle of Delphi. So Kratos arrives to the Oracle's temple on the back of a giant robot snake, just go with it, only to find that the Oracle is being locked up by Castor and Pollux, who are presumably working for the Furies. Pollux is a deformed midget sprouting out of Castor's chest in this version. Not quite sure that's quite accurate to the Greek myths, but hey, any excuse to use a Total Recall clip. Wrong Total Recall clip. Kratos kills Castor and Pollux only for a lump of rubble to land on top of the Oracle. The Oracle manages to stay alive long enough to tell Kratos that the Furies have stolen her all-seeing eyes and hidden them in a lantern held by a giant statue of Apollo built by Archimedes. Archimedes apparently going mad and dying trying to build the thing. Pretty sure the real Archimedes was actually stabbed to death by Romans while he was distracted solving a maths problem, but that's creative license for you. Anyway, the Oracle dies, Kratos sails off to the statue, finds the eyes, only to be captured by the Furies, chained up, which is where the game started. Flashing forward to the present, Kratos finds the two remaining Furies, and sick of his crap, the Queen of the Furies decides to transform into a giant sea monster for some reason. Unfortunately for her, fighting giant monsters is what Kratos does for a living. Well, along with having sex with women and not calling his son by his own name. Kratos finally kills the two remaining Furies, only for Ares' son to show up and tells Kratos that if Kratos wants to break the pact, Kratos has to kill him. Kratos does this, and after cremating the son's corpse in a massive bonfire, he decides to head off to try and track down Ares. The gameplay is where the real meat is. You have your standard light and heavy attack, but you can also pick up enemy weapons and use them for a short while to stun or damage other enemies. You can also use Kratos' chain blades to grapple onto enemies and fling them at other enemies. You can also empower your blades with the fires of Ares, the lightning of Zeus, the ice of Poseidon, and the wispy ghost hands of Hades. And if you fill up your combo meter, you can have Kratos unleash an energy burst that damages, knocks over and hurts any enemies surrounding him. Kratos also has one artifact that he can use to trap enemies in a bubble of slowed down time, another that allows him to create a dark doppelganger that can distract and attack enemies. These two items can be also used for puzzle solving, such as using the doppelganger to hold down levers and switches, or use the time stone to repair or degrade objects and mechanisms. And very late on in the game you can use the eyes of the Oracle to get rid of barriers around levers and gateways. Throughout the game you fight many enemies and monsters based off things from Greek mythology. The most annoying of these be those fucking floating sirens who shoot electrical blasts and have screams that both have the ability to stun you when you try and get a hit in, and kill me more often than I'm willing to admit on the internet. Another thing I had issues with were a few glitches I came across during the game. Most of them weren't really big issues, with the exception of two. One involving a block puzzle where the option to push the block didn't appear. I managed to fix this by reloading the checkpoint. And another during the second Manticore fight, where the boss's model had somehow glitched inside its cutscene model. The camera was stuck in the corner, Kratos' health bar refused to appear, and once the Manticore was defeated, the gate refused to open. The only way I managed to fix this is to reload from the previous chapter that involved a long fight where you fight, you guessed it, sirens. And what happens once you finally defeat the Manticore? You have a long battle section which includes yet more sirens. Yay! And also, before I move on to the next bit, this game has a lot of quick time events if that's a personal turn off for you. For a game that was on the PS3, the graphics are actually really damn good. Heck, they stand up with many games coming out today. Whether it be the detail put into the locations and backdrops on Kratos himself, or just the visceral detail put into the execution moves. Never has slicing a Cyclops' stomach open and watching his intestines fall out been so visually appealing. Or cracking open an elephant-headed giant skull and watching its brain pop out. And a lot of the character design takes the ancient Greek aesthetic and dials it up to 11. As for the soundtrack, it's the God of War soundtrack. There's not much I really need to say. Well, I want to hear the music. Do you want to hear the music? Yes. Stop wasting my time and then get on with it. Well, here it is. It's so awesome, so grand, so majestic. Catch me, I think I'm going to faint. I said catch me, you degenerate fool. Damn, I thought he was going to give him a concussion. This game is fairly enjoyable for the most part. However, I feel it was held back from being really good due to its short length, previously mentioned glitches and a few annoying enemy encounters. Personally, I think it's worth giving a go whether you're a long-term fan of the series or just want to get into the franchise. Well, that's all from me. Expect my next review to come out in the next month or so. In the meantime, there's going to be a new arrival to the channel. And let's just say he makes the music master look normal. You know, this would go easier if someone just left to her own. You have your standard light and heavy attack, but you can also pick up enemies left behind by defeated enemies.
Enemies left behind